Thank you, Brian. I'm going to read this without looking up. It's not what you're supposed to do. I write. It's what I do to relax and also to keep from exploding or imploding. It's how I process the things that happen in the world. And a lot of my writing over the years has been inspired directly or indirectly by Susan. She was the person I've known the best, and I've learned a lot from her. Thinking about the contrast between her and me, for example, taught me some things I've come to believe about women and men. Both women and men can be amazingly generous, but men, it seems to me, hope not to be diminished in giving, fighting always to keep themselves available for their ambitions, real or imagined. And women are content, I have observed, to ration themselves away to the ones they love in the world, reserving nothing, with no concern that anything be left when it's over. A man might give you his life, and it will be quick and brief, violent or glorious, because a man usually gives his life by dying for you. And a woman might give you her life, and it will be slow and long, difficult, beautiful, because a woman usually gives her life by living for you, sacrificing more and more, day after day, until there is none left. And Susan was like this. Instead of fumbling in the fog of today's emotions for new words to say, I want to share with you a few brief selections I wrote in easier times. This is something I wrote shortly after Susan was diagnosed with cancer. Mortals die. They have no choice. It's what mortal means, subject to death. And loving mortals, therefore, is risky and can be foolish, an invitation to pain and loss. But how can we help it, though? Mortals are so adorable, with their wide, hopeful eyes and their life gathered around them, holding on tight. You'd expect mortals to be sheltered, pushing away all potential threats, spending all their energy staving off death. So often, however, they throw open their arms and, smiling, pull you into their short, tumultuous existence. When they wrap you in their small embrace and kiss you on the lips, how can you resist? Mortals love more sincerely than any other life, understanding the value of what they give and what they receive. It is better to have loved and lost, mortals say, than never to have loved at all. And I think we can learn something from that. Something about life and love, and the bankruptcy of pure reason, and the value of hopeless dreams. I will love you forever, they tell one another. And it might sound ridiculous coming from them, but you believe it. When you hold them in your arms and you feel their life burning away so quickly, and they stare into your eyes and they say, I will love you forever. You believe it. I always wrote little tributes to Susan and to our marriage on her birthday and on our anniversary. We were married for 21 years, but I want to share with you something I wrote on our 16th anniversary. It captures well how I feel about my life with Susan. Anyone who's had the good fortune to have been married to Susan for these past 16 years will understand how I feel. You'll remember how young we were, still teenagers when we met, barely 20 when we married. It's almost frightening to think of the important decisions we made at so young an age. I was completely unprepared and unqualified to be someone's husband. If, when my daughters are that age, one of them brings home some scroungy-looking unemployed guy and says they want to marry him, I'll never be able to look at them in the eye and refuse them with any moral authority. I'll just look at the guy and think, man, he looks familiar. If they're half the woman their mother is, who knows? Anything is possible. Susan, I think most of the time about the fact that fewer and fewer things are certain as I get older. Many things about which I used to be so sure are now tentative and doubtful. Not you, though. I'm more certain about you every day. I grow more aware of how lucky we were to have bumped into each other and noticed one another in those mad days of teen chaos. If we had the ability, when we met the people with whom we'd spend the rest of our life, to see in that first glance all the love and work, joy and change, pain and wonder in those years ahead, we'd be frozen in sacred terror, unable to move for fear of losing the path to that happy life we glimpsed. It's fortunate, therefore, that we can blunder forward in oblivious energy and just do what comes naturally, paving the way to the future as we go, completely unaware of the gravity of what we're doing. Susan, I can say with certainty that what you and I have built, this family and home, is the most amazing thing either of us will ever accomplish. Anything else is just an added bonus, a perk. I'm more fulfilled with you than I ever expected to be. And I am a happy man. I won't even try to guess what's coming next. It doesn't work that way. Instead, I'll just close my eyes and take your hand and blunder on. Anything is possible. Susan, I love you more than I have the skill to say. You are my favorite everything. And to conclude, here's something I wrote for my children on the day that Susan died. Not gone. She cannot be gone, whose lessons have taught us, whose nurture has fed us, whose seeds grew to be us. Almost all we are is her. She cannot be gone, whose flesh is our flesh, whose bone is our bone, whose life contained ours. Almost all we are is her. Though we cannot hear her voice and we cannot feel her touch, she is in us and through us and all around. She can never be gone.